With tariffs on both sides now in place and the threat of more on the way, a federal election expected to be called this week and rising inflation, there's certainly no shortage of uncertainty throughout our country right now. Joining us to talk about all of this and more is real estate broker Peggy Hill. Peggy, nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
So we just talked about there, we set it up. Inflation is on the rise for a number of different things here. Obviously, the bank has consistently been cutting rates, most recently last week.
It's almost like we have nothing to talk about today.
Almost like we have nothing to talk about. I wish that were the case, Peggy. In terms of these inflation interest rates, what do we think the bank's going to do next?
So I imagine the bank's going to hold, and he kind of pretty much said so. He did cut last time, and he didn't cut on the basis of the economy. He cut on the basis of giving us a buffer to see what the tariffs are going to roll out. And that's the interesting part. You can look at this economy with a glass half full or a glass full, half empty. And I care to look at it with a glass half full, and I'm only saying that because I'm data driven, and that's what the Bank of Canada is, data driven. So they're going to look at the numbers and see how the economy is responding with all of the tariff talk and everything else, and then they will gauge that. And I imagine in April we'll probably hold, because the inflation data came out this week and it was higher than a lot of people expected. However, we were already warned that these numbers were going to be higher because we had an HST holiday in December and January. So in all fairness, everything being equal, we expected all this.
We're going into spring now, Peggy, obviously, right? As all of this is happening. You're staying glass half full. It's a good time for the real estate market, usually in spring.
Right.
Do you see that this year?
I don't see a spring where we're going to set records. I do see a steady spring, and last week was fairly quiet, but it was March break. It's always quiet during March break. What I do see coming down the pipe is a fairly active market, and the reason I say that, not because I'm in real estate, I say that because with the rates being as low as they are, and a first-time home buyer being able to qualify for 3.8, and there's going to be more bank participation in these cuts, so they will fight each other for market share. So I imagine the rates will come down even a little bit more. And what happens in that case is that it's cheaper to buy than to rent, or on par. So if you have a first-time home buyer and you say you can buy this for $2,500 or you can rent it for $2,500, they will buy it. And that's the key to this housing market in Simcoe County. We have always needed our first-time buyers, and they're back.
And we need them back, and hopefully that's the trend moving forward. Peggy Hill, it's always lovely to see you.
Always lovely to see you.
We will head outside now to Mr. Casey Colby.